while I enjoy the cutest ice cream I've ever seen, and also my walk home, I'm going to tell you something I just love about Spanish people. I've had such a wholesome weekend, and so I thought, why not let's love on our Spaniards. I was in Alicante this weekend for my solo trip, but I've also noticed this in Seville and general Spanish towns that I've been into while I have been studying abroad. They all seem to literally have the trait of, I don't care what anybody thinks about me. And as a Scottish person, I mean, our culture is all riddled in slaggings and like just taking the mick out of people, and anything they say is embarrassing, anything they do that's embarrassing, you're like, oh haha. Like literally, Spanish people do not care what anyone thinks. I was in Alicante and there was a guy that brought his guitar out to the bar with him with his friends and was like singing flamenco, and they were all like clapping and singing and like in a big group and just making a big fuss out of themselves and drawing attention to themselves, and not a single person sitting or standing there gave a flying toss about what anyone was saying about them, what anyone was looking like. Obviously tourists were looking around like, oh, like what's going on. They didn't care. No care. And I think that's just a really nice thing to have, like just not caring, like enjoying your life and doing whatever the hell you want to do, not caring about what people think about it. Of course, this might not be the trait of everybody, but it just seems to keep happening. Like every time I see like big groups of, when me and Sam were out in Seville at the water, there was a group of people, men and women, like it seems like they were like a big group of friends, and they were literally like singing songs, English songs, Spanish songs to themselves, and they were all joining in and getting the words wrong, and not one of them was like, oh haha, like mate, like I felt like you're slagging them. There was nobody. And in Scotland you just would never see that. Like there is no way your group of friends are going to start singing in the middle of the bar unless it's like for a wind up. Everything's for a wind up, like everything's to be embarrassing, to laugh at them. They're not doing it because they want to do it. Like it's just the way that it works, and the culture is just so different. And I think being surrounded by people who act like this constantly all time is why I'm so confident in just going and speaking Spanish. Like when I go up and I order and I say something wrong, like yeah, they may like giggle to themselves a little bit, but like ultimately they're going to forget in 3 seconds because they're not really into the whole, oh that's embarrassing. Like they're not going to go home and tell their mum that happened at work. Like it just feels like they literally don't care. Like they are so chilled and relaxed in themselves that nothing could ever matter. And I think that's why I just feel so much more confident, like going and just making mistakes and not caring what anyone thinks. Like the whole personality trait is totally rubbing off on me, I feel. And I cannot say that the same thing would happen if I was a Spanish person coming to Scotland to learn English. I don't think I would feel the same about speaking. It's just something you notice, like the embarrassing culture and the like slagging culture. Obviously it does happen, like people obviously do slag their friends, like it's just a universal thing, but in Spain it just seems so much more like nobody cares what anyone else is doing. Like ultimately, who cares? And I like that. And I think it's just made me feel so much more confident myself, which hopefully I can then bring back when I move back to Scotland and just start to not care. Like I'm literally filming things like this in the street. I'm just doing whatever I want to do, whatever makes me happy, because who cares? If I was doing this in the streets of Scotland, I'd be constantly worrying about people watching me. But here, I literally couldn't care, and I feel like they just don't care back, and that's why I don't care. So moral of the story is, I do love Scotland. I love our slagging culture. It's funny. I have a great time. Like Scottish people understand Scottish people. Like I miss having Scottish friends over here because it's just so strange. Like different culture, even from England to Scotland. Like just how you treat your friends and just how things are different. And I miss it. And I love being Scottish. But there is just something about that carefree attitude of the Spaniards that I really would like to adopt. And I think that everyone should do. Anyway, that's all.